Good evening, race fans, and welcome to Martinsville Speedway for the season opener of the Mtn Dew Modified Tour, proudly presented to you by Tagare Property Management. We are back here once again with the gentlemen's from the American Sim Racing Club, back here once again in a different setting slightly this time. This time around, we are racing Wellen modified touring cars. These are open-wheeled, short-track cars, a lot of power, really large wheelbases as well. So we are going to see a lot of great action from a lot of these drivers here today. And I have to say, I am quite excited. These modifieds are something that are quite common on the east side of the United States. You'll find them all over throughout the East Coast. It is a very popular series, and we are going to be getting into some of that here today at Martinsville Speedway, a little under a half-mile track. 125 laps we are going to be doing here today, and I do not believe we are having heat laps this time around. The setup for this series is going to be slightly different from the last time. If you were a viewer from the last season of the Frito-Lay Super Late Model Series with American Sim Racing Club, we had heat lap races throughout at the beginning of the race to sort of start the grid, and I don't think we will be doing that here today. But my, oh my, everybody, I have to say, this is going to be rather interesting here. 125 laps here around Martinsville. This is going to be a very short track, and I have to say, this is also, I would almost want to say, it's rather interesting. I haven't raced too much at this track before. I did a little bit of testing with this car just to kind of get a feel for things and just to see how things were. But enough of that. We have our lineup for today for our feature race. Starting in first place, Thomas Axum. In first place in that 013 machine. Brett Hahn in second. Andrew Payne in third. Nick Fleury in fourth place. Skip Gandy in fifth. David Payton in sixth. Ron Hart in seventh. Jackson Lewis in eighth. Bob Rogerson in ninth. Austin Nielsen in 10th. Bailey Boyd in 11th. Billy Thomas in 12th place. Rex Hoyle in 13th. Ryan Libby in 14th. Tim Rogers in 15th. Hayden Swank in 16th. Nathan Henry in 17th. Brandon Campbell in 18th. Eric Papanow in 19th. Andrew Burr in 20th. Charles Darling in 21st. Zach Heiser in 22nd. Brian Bianchi, in 23rd. Nathan Goot in 24th. And Noah Boucher in 25th. John Kane in 26th. Eric Hahn in 27th. John DeMeester in 28th. Devin McDonald in 29th. Richard Pruitt in 30th. Daryl Church in 31st. And last but certainly not least, Andrew Hale rounding out the field. 32 drivers. Andrew Hale in the number 962 machine going to be taking up the back of the field here as drivers work their way behind the pace car here as we get ready to go to take our first few laps here at Martinsville for the Mtn Dew Modified Tour, proudly brought to you by Tagare Property Management. I would like to also thank Tagare Property Management for sponsoring this event and putting this on. It's always great to have outside support helping these leagues, making sure that these leagues are able to continue to put on these great races and honestly have all these great fields that we are able to witness here. Pace car, the lights are out. We are going to be seeing that pace car head down into pit road here. And I seem to be making this mistake rather often now, more than ever, as I continue to race more and more often on my free time. However, that's not what we're here for. And it looks like we're actually going to take another lap around just to get the field kind of sorted out here. And guys, I have to say, I'm a big fan of open wheel racing. This sort of racing always just kind of gets me a little excited, and being that I've never really personally seen these cars race before, it's going to be very interesting to see how they do in a sim environment. I've watched a couple real life races just to sort of familiarize myself with these cars and with these series just a little bit. You can see there Brett Hahn leading up the outside of Thomas Axum in that 013 machine. Brett Hahn, our winner from the Frito-Lay Super Late Model Touring Series, is going to be looking to come here in the Mountain Dew Modified Tour and possibly take away another win here as well. Going to be starting out strong in second place here. It's going to be rather impressive. And excuse me if I do sound a little under the weather. It's that time of year, unfortunately, here in the northern part of the United States. It's getting a little bit colder, so it's that time. Things are getting closer and closer to getting ready to rock and roll here. And if I'm not mistaken, we are just getting one driver possibly working out some kinks here. A few drivers that are also not out on track currently. Unsure what the problem is there, what these guys are dealing with in pit road currently. But you can see there David Payton in the number 38 kind of wobbling around there. He's ready to go. I'm ready to go. I hope everyone watching is ready to go here as we get ready to kick things off here. First lap here at Martinsville Speedway, and I think our pace car is going to make its way down pit road here after we make our way across the checkered line one more time, if I am not mistaken, or it'll be this time around. And there it goes. And here we go, everyone. Drivers making their way through turn 3, out of turn 4, and they will see that green flag. And here we go. We are racing. Thomas Axum on the inside. Brett Hahn on the outside. Diving it into turn 1 and out of turn 2. Down the straightaway. Back stretch. Thomas Axum and Brett Hahn still side by side. We have a caution out already. There's cars all over. We have a number of drivers involved in an incident here. Let's see what happened here. Noah Boucher involved in an incident with, I believe, Eric Hahn. Let's spin up a replay of that real quickly and have a look at what happened. We're going to take things as well into slow motion here. Right on the green flag start. Now, because this track is so small, we wouldn't have been able to see this in our current camera angle that we were looking at. But we're looking at the number 16 machine of Noah Boucher. Going to be on your center screen currently. Going to catch a little bit of a tap there from Eric Hahn from behind. Going to send that number 16 sideways. Eric Hahn unable to find any opportunity to get away from that as well. He's going to find himself up in the top of the wall as well. A few other drivers getting into that mix as well, causing a bit of a kerfluffle in the field for these first few laps here at Martinsville. Yellow flag laps also do not count as well. If you are not aware, if you are new to this series joining in here today. And I also have to mention as well, if you're wondering why there's 2 Hans here tonight, that is because Brett and Eric are both brothers. It's great to see. We were not able to see Eric last year in the Frito-Lay Super Late Model Series, but it's great to see Eric come out here for the Mountain Dew Modified Tour. Going to have a little bit of brotherly competition out there, but Brett Hahn is currently second place next to Thomas Axum, who looked like they were going to have a great battle there for a moment. And, well, it lasted about a half a lap before the yellow caution came out. And, you know, that's racing. That's part of the sport. That's what happens in these series. And when you have a field this deep, 32 cars out on track here, pace car makes its way down pit road. We are going to spin things off here once again. Lap 5 of 125 here at Martinsville. I don't think that's incorrect. I'm sure live timing will update us here very shortly, but green flag is out. Thomas Axum going to be taking it out in front of the 71 of Brett Hahn. Brett Hahn on the chase of the 13, going to try and find any line that he possibly can, but the number 20, Skip Gandy, able to find some speed on the bumper of the 71 for just a moment, but it looks like he faded off there for just a second. Now Brett Hahn still on that chase. You can see in the back Nick Fleury trying to make something happen here as well. You see David Payton, Jackson Lewis, and I believe the Nick Fleury is also in here as well. And we have another caution already. And as I mentioned, you know, it's bound to happen here when you have this many cars here on a track this small. This Martinsville is, I would say, a little bit more narrow than most tracks are. It's very, very tight. There's not a lot of room to move around, to wiggle around. Now there is some room. You can definitely get 3 cars around here, but given that we have currently, I believe, 28 drivers that are actively on track right now, that's a lot of cars to fit on this track here, and it can make it a little difficult for everyone to keep their line and keep things rocking and rolling here. But let's see if we can have a quick look at that incident here with Eric Papanow in the number 43 here. Overshot that turn there coming down the back stretch, and it doesn't look like he was involved in that. Let's see. We have Bob Rogerson here as well, the number 985, and he just gets loose on his own down into the bottom wall coming out of turn 2, I believe that is. I believe that is what was caused our yellow flag to come out here, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm not too far behind down the list of current incidents, but that is going to set things, it's going to shake things up here quite significantly here, I do believe. Jason Gardner in the chat saying, let's go. I agree, Jason. Let's get things going. Let's get racing, and let's have a fantastic one as well. I'm sure these guys are all feeling exactly the same way. Definitely don't want to continue to have these mistakes going forward. But green flag is out. Thomas Axum going to take a lead, jump on the rest of the field here once again, try and get in front of that 71 of Brett Hahn. Skip Gandy on the bumper of the 71 of Brett Hahn for just a moment. Not able to stick onto that, but Nick Fleury now on the tail of Skip Gandy as well in the 4th place currently. Brett Hahn doing everything he possibly can to stay as close as he can to Thomas Axum. Let's take a little bit further back in the field here just to see what's going on back here. That seems to be where most of the action is happening currently. We see Ron Hart in the 051 currently in 5th place, followed by Jackson Lewis and Bailey Boyd. Jackson Lewis almost on the bumper. You can see just how close the number 7 is of Jackson Lewis getting to Ron Hart. Ron doing everything he possibly can to stay as close to Nick Fleury in that number 25 machine. So Ron Hart's going to have quite the battle worked up for him as well. David Payton following just behind them, behind Bailey Boyd in the number 38 machine. He has Rex Hoyle in the number 54 on his tail as well currently. And it seems like these guys are wanting to go single file here. Let's take a little bit of a wider angle at the field, and you can see just where everyone is, and it's just a long string of drivers down the track. Not a whole lot of room between the drivers, so it's a matter of just going fast and taking advantage of the driver in front of you making mistakes, missing their marks, and just overall not being as fast as they possibly could be. But you're able to take advantage of that and do whatever you possibly can to make it work out here on track here. But everyone doing an absolutely fantastic job. And as I say that, the yellow flag comes out one more time here. Let's see if we can pull up the action from that incident and see what happens here. Looks like we have John Kane involved in an incident with the 29 machine here. The The 99. Let me find. Or maybe it was the 88. Let's have one more look at that real quick here. I just want to see. Yeah, definitely got into the driver's side rear. I am unable to find the number 99. Brandon Campbell. That's who it was. Apologies. I was trying to find a name to put to the car. That way I wasn't just spitting out a number to everyone watching here. But third caution of the night here at Martinsville. If I know some of these drivers from just past interviews and just generally just kind of knowing how some of these guys can be, I can see some of the drivers out in the front of the field, or even just around the field in general. They're going to be getting a little impatient, I would have to say. But pace car makes its way back into pit road. We are going to start things off here once again with Thomas Axum out in the front of the field. Brett Hahn on the outside. We're going to see the green flag come out here once again with Thomas Axum trying to take that gap from Brett Hahn here once again. Brett Hahn doing a fantastic job of just trying to stay consistent and trying to do whatever he can to put the pressure on that 013 of Thomas. But Skip Gandy as well also has been chasing Brett Hahn practically this entire time, trying to do whatever he possibly can to get around that number 71 of Brett Hahn. But Brett's an absolutely incredibly fast driver, very consistent and very talented, so it's gonna take some work to make that work and make that happen. But Ron Hart in the 05-1, fourth place currently with Jackson Lewis behind him, and Nick Fleury battling it for fifth place currently. The 25 going to find it on the outside of Jackson Lewis in the number 7. Nick Fleury dropping back just a little bit, going to be behind Jackson Lewis now on the bumper almost. We're almost just a second there. But Nick Fleury is going to find himself back in the 6th place, where he's going to be down 2 positions from where he started in this race currently. So Nick Fleury probably not having the best start of the race that he would like to have, but given that we've had 3 cautions here already, and it's lap 14 of 125, I can imagine it's just a little bit of having to get himself back in the game, possibly. Who knows? Nick Fleury just doing what he can in this absolutely tricky field, I have to say. We've talked about this already a couple times. This track isn't exactly the widest track in the world. There's not a whole lot of grip on the... I mean, if looking on screen, you may think, yeah, there's a lot of asphalt there. There's, plenty of places to drive on. That is correct. You are technically correct. However, the grip from the higher side of the track right now, where drivers are currently deciding to place themselves going down the straights at least, there's going to be a lot more grip in that section of the track than if you were to go to the bottom side of the track, where it's a lot colder and there's virtually no grip, being that your tires are significantly warmer than the track temperature. It's a whole lot of very strange physics involved in it, but it's definitely a real thing that can affect your overall race and where you place. But you can see there, Nick Fleury getting up into the wall on the back stretch there, or on the front stretch, excuse me, for just a second, giving that wall a little bit of a love tap. But doing a fantastic job of trying to chase down that 7 machine of Jackson Lewis, who has found himself in 5th place, up 3 positions from where he started. So fantastic work from Jackson Lewis. And let's take a look at the back of the field here. Hayden Swank in the number 35 in 12th place currently, up 4 from where he started in that rather unique paint scheme. I am not quite sure what exactly that is, as we have another caution come out on track with Eric Hahn involved. Let's see what exactly happened here. Apologies for that. Eric Hahn in the 711 is the car we're going to be looking at here in the orange and white car. Gonna get sideways all on his lonesome and hit the barrier coming out of turn 2. A little bit of a love tap there. The car should hopefully be alright. Eric Hahn should be able to get himself back on track and shrug that one off. But we'll see what Eric decides to do. If he decides to park it, as it would appear he chose to do so. All right, and as we enter our 4th caution for tonight at Martinsville, we're on lap 20 of 125. Given the current state of how everything is going right now, if I had to guess, if I had to make any assumption as to who is going to potentially win this race just based on the 21 laps that I've seen here so far, I really am excited to see Thomas put some more, get some more laps around here. It's very impressive seeing Thomas keep it out in front of Brett Hahn, who was a very dominant driver in the Super Late Models Touring Series. But we're going to go green flag here once again. Thomas Axum is going to take the jump on the field here, as he has done every restart so far. Brett Hahn getting very, very close. Skip Gandy, all 3 of these drivers getting very close on that first turn, but Skip Gandy falling behind a little bit. Oh, we have cars getting into contact with one another. Skip Gandy. Oh, what's going on there? It looks like Skips is having some issues with his car, just dropping down the field rapidly. Getting into a couple other cars here as well. Nick Fleury was one of them, as we have another caution out on track. This is very strange. I am not sure what's going on with the 20 of Skip Gandy, but it just looks like something happened to that car, as we now have a car in the middle of the track with a blown out engine. It's going to be the number 985 of Bob Rogerson. Bob probably found himself probably downshifting when he wanted to upshift. You can see the smoke billowing out of that 985. He's probably going to have to take it into pit road and quite possibly... Oh, he's going to stay out, it looks like. Nope, he's not. All right, we're going to go back into pit road. We're going to take a very quick commercial break here, folks, just so we can get these guys sorted back out here again. It's going to take a minute here, so grab yourself a drink, grab yourself a snack, grab yourself a Mountain Dew in honor of the series here tonight, and I will see you all in just a minute.
Driver Carrington gets dumped by Benami. The leaders are winding up here. Daytona, the big one is out.
All right, everyone, welcome back. Pace car lights are out, so it looks like we are going to be sending it around the track. Green flag, and here we go. Coming out of turn 3 and 4. Down the front stretch, the green flag will come out. And Thomas Axum's going to take another jump on the field here once again with Brett Hahn on the chase here. Jackson Lewis in 3rd place now after Skip Gandy found himself falling down the field. And Skip Gandy is now going to be 22nd after that happening to him that last restart. But Brett Hahn is now going to be battling it out here with Jackson Lewis behind him for 1st place. With Thomas Axum leading this field very, very strongly. And I believe he has led every single lap so far. Lap 24 of 125 here. Things are going to be very, very interesting throughout the night here. We're going to keep looking through the field here, seeing how drivers are doing, and Nick Fleury in the number 25 behind the 051 of Ron Hart. Going to be trying to find some action here for himself. Nick Fleury not quite having the night that he's probably looking to have here, as he's down still 1 position from where he started, but he's going to be able to stay at least in the top 5. Let's see if he's going to hold on to that as we progress forward here. Bailey Boyd in the 163, followed behind Austin Nielsen. A string of drivers that we have here. It's honestly, it's just a whole string of drivers, and another caution comes out. Devin McDonald involved with this one. Let's see. Devin McDonald in the number 18. Getting up onto the wall. Goes sideways. Doesn't get anybody else involved, but absolutely sends himself on a little bit of a spiral. Let's see if we can take one more quick look at that here from the perspective of Devin McDonald. Not good. Not good. Not what you want to see. That's gonna be hurting just a little bit, I have to imagine, for Devin. Not gonna be too happy with that. I know I certainly wouldn't be, as we enter our 5th, I believe, our 6th caution for tonight. Things are off to a little bit of a rocky start here for the Modified Tour, but after I believe it was just over a month, if I am not mistaken, since the last time we all came together for a broadcasted event. So some of these guys might be getting back in the seat for the first time after some time, after taking a little bit of a break. Who knows? Definitely could be the potential for that throughout this field here. I almost don't doubt it, as the pace car is going to make its way into pit road here once again. We are going to see another green flag restart with Thomas Axum taking a jump on the field here once again, and Jackson Lewis actually putting the pressure on Brett Hahn, battling for 2nd place now. Brett Hahn forced to the outside. Jackson Lewis now able to get out in front of Brett Hahn, forcing Brett into 3rd place. Jackson Lewis, a fantastic job from Jackson in that number 7 machine, putting the pressure on Brett Hahn, getting on his inside as quickly as he possibly can. And speaking of quickly, we have yet another caution out on track here. Things are not looking great for the number of cautions here tonight. Let's see what happens here. Eric Papanow involved in this incident, the number 43 in that blue paint scheme. You can see there. Let's take that back here for just a second so I can show you exactly where Now, right as Eric touches that part of the track, the car wants to snap away because of the change of grip. It's a very, very sudden thing, and it's very, very difficult to correct once it starts happening, especially when you're going as fast as these guys are. That is one of the tricky things about these short track, about Martinsville especially, and just with open wheel cars in general. They can be very, very, very finicky, very, very tricky cars to keep control of and keep them on track. They're very touchy cars, and it's very exciting to see just how much control a lot of these guys have over these just absolutely power-hungry machines. And B-Boy in the chat, the laps are going backwards. And yeah, you are correct, Brent. B-Boy, they do go backwards a little bit when race control fixes. They do a little voodoo magic on their end to correct the actual lap, because yellow flag laps do not count here. And speaking of laps, we have another green flag attempt here with Thomas Axum in the 013, leading it out in first place, and Jackson Lewis still in second, with Brett Hahn in third, taking a very, very hard switch down to third place. Jackson Lewis did a fantastic job of putting the pressure on Brett and taking that second place position. But looking back further in the field, we have Ron Hart and Nick Fleury, who have both kind of been in the same exact position, except for Nick Fleury. Nick Fleury was able to work his way back into fourth place. He was down in, I believe, fifth or sixth for quite some time, and he was finding himself behind the 051 of Ron Hart. But now Ron Hart, the tables have turned. Now Ron is chasing behind Nick Fleury, another solid contender here in this series. And at this point, I'm just looking all over the track for different incidents, and you can see on the bottom right hand side of your screen the track map, all of the drivers that are currently on track, and you can see just how close everybody is, and frankly just how how little space there is on this track. It doesn't really seem like much when you put this many cars here on the track. It's pretty amusing. It's really great to see. Ron Hart is definitely looking like he's having a fun time here. A lot of these guys look to be having an absolutely fantastic race. Seems like a lot of these guys just want to put on a green flag run here, a solid one at that. And Austin Nielsen in the 52 machine that NVIDIA sponsored. I believe that's, yeah, NVIDIA sponsored paint scheme on the 52 machine, looking fantastic as well. Austin Nielsen, another driver from the Frito-Lay Super Late Model Series, coming over for the Modified Tour. Tim Rogers as well behind them in the 48, also coming back. A whole field of drivers that we have. You can see on the left-hand side the last names of all the drivers, and you will recognize a few. I am most certain of it. Looking in 11th place right now, Hayden Swank behind David Payton currently. Hayden is another driver here that I'm going to be looking out for, not only in this race, but just throughout the season in general, to just do very well and be a very strong competitor here. Now, speaking of another driver that I want to see do well here, Nick Fleury was one of those drivers as well that we saw last year, who honestly was doing a very, very fantastic job and could have taken away the championship, but Brett Hahn was just the man to beat. And And Brett Hunt was able to take away quite a few wins towards the tail end of that season. It was definitely a very tricky thing to try and work around. That 71 machine was very, very fast last season, but here in this modified tour, things are different, and we have a handful of new drivers, new faces joining us for the series. So there's going to be new competition, new blood to overtake and overcome. And right now, it seems like the new blood that has come to town and declared themselves sheriff, Thomas Axum in that 013. It definitely seems like he's going to be the man to beat all race. This 113 machine has led every single lap. I don't think he has suffered a position change yet. Maybe during lap restarts for a moment, and I mean for only a moment. This 13 is absolutely aggressive on this track. It looks like Thomas definitely put some practice in before coming into this race here tonight. And for 125 laps, I would almost encourage it. It definitely can be quite challenging to stay out on track for that long and stay consistent and stay fast. But Thomas Axum is he is the epitome of doing that here tonight. As all race, I have not seen that gap move from second place to first place at all. It's been almost the same for the entirety of this race here. Lap 46 of 125. We are getting very, very close to that halfway point. And so far, everything is looking very solid out on track. Let's head up to the blimp and just get a better picture, a better view of what's going on down on track. Get a little bit of a downward angle just to see how close these guys are and to see the different lines. And speaking of which, Thomas Axum is starting to get closer and closer to the back of the field, so we're going to see lap traffic start to get involved here, and I think this is where we are going to see the most opportunities for overtakes to start happening as the field starts to bunch up a little bit towards the rear, with the front of the field starting to work their way through. It's going to be very, very interesting having lead lap drivers mixed in with drivers who are falling behind a little bit. It's going to be tough. It's going to be really, really tough. All these drivers also seem to want to prefer that low line going into all of these turns. And you see there right now the 28. I believe that was the 28. I might have been mistaken. It might have been the 29 of John Kane taking that high line, giving the lead lap drivers the preferred line here as we see another lap driver working their way. John DeMeester going to be finding himself a lap down here. And there he goes, John DeMeester taking that high line, being very respectful of the lead lap drivers, making sure to stay out of their way, make sure that their race is as clean as they possibly can make it. And Skip Gandy now also going to be suffering from this as well, going to be finding himself a lap down as well. And you know, I was almost expecting the front of the field, or these top three drivers, to bunch up even closer, but it seems to be actually quite the opposite. I'm not sure if that's simply Jackson is just not quite as comfortable through traffic. Maybe he had a little bit of a moment and we just didn't see it on screen. Not really too sure what's going on there with Jackson. He's just kind of found himself a little bit further behind Thomas than he probably would like, but still working. Jackson up 6 positions from where he started tonight. He's going to be in second place currently. It's going to be a great start to the season for points. So pulling out a win here, or even just a top 3, it's going to put yourself. It's going to give yourself a good lead and a lot of great momentum going forward into the rest of the season, and hopefully it'll play forward as well. Laps 57 now of 125 as Thomas crosses the checkered line. And so far, everything seems to be quite calm out on track currently. And I want to say that very, very loosely. I don't want to jinx anything, but everything seems to be very, very calm as far as who's battling where. A lot of these guys are still, just naturally going single file, trying to prolong the life of their tires as long as they possibly can, stay out in the race as long as they can, but you also want to try and make your overtakes. You want to put the pressure on the guy in front of you as much as you possibly can. Tim Rogers right now, who we're currently watching, the number 48, he's got Rex Hoyle behind him, the number 54, and that 54 wants to get around him. You can see a lot of these guys, they're trying whatever they possibly can to overtake, get positions, or even just try and make the guy in front of them mess up, make a mistake, do something wrong so that way I can get around you. That's a lot of, usually that's the mentality that most of these drivers will have in these races. 125 laps, that's a long race. That's a long time to keep things together and keep things consistent. So if you can make the guy in front of you or even the guy behind you slip up and make a little bit of a mistake, that's going to work for your favor. That's going to work in your favor. It's going to make things a little bit better for you, as we see a little bit of an incident happening out in the front of the field. For just a moment, it seemed like I saw something happen. But Nick Fleury right now, these guys looking to go almost 3 wide there for just a second. I'm not sure if that was lap traffic getting involved in that, getting out of the way there rather quickly. Ron Hart is still on the bumper of that 25 of Nick Fleury, trying to do whatever he possibly can. Let's check back in with the front of the field here. I'm curious to see what's changed up here in, well, not really surprising. Not too much has changed here. Not really. Didn't really expect much there. Thomas Axum is just doing a fantastic job here. That gap has really not changed since the last time we checked in with them. About a half a second, I believe, was around where it was the last time we were watching with these guys. And speaking of watching these guys, let's actually have a moment here and watch on board with Brett Hahn in the number 71, who's currently 3rd, chasing down Jackson Lewis. And let's just have a listen to what's happening in that number 71. I could listen to that all day, and I would have no problem with it. Anyway, Brett Hahn is, it was really looking to be in his favor there for quite some time to be able to potentially get into first. But lap 70 of 125, oh man, the clock is ticking. And once we hit lap 75, there's only 50 laps left to go in the race. So there's not really a whole lot of time left. These laps are ticking away extremely fast. Right now, drivers are looking at about the high 18s, the low 19 seconds for their lap times currently. The fastest lap time that I can see right now is going to be put down, looks like by both Brett Hahn and Thomas Axum, both having a similar best time of 18.39 around the track. Both of these drivers' last times around, however, given that it's lap 72, just to give you an idea of how much tire wear these guys are experiencing. Thomas Axum, his last time around, he did an 18.69. That's nearly a third slower than his best time. And now that doesn't seem like a lot, but when you're talking in the grand scheme of racing in time, it can mean the difference between first place or third, or worse. It's honestly, it's amazing how much time can matter for a position. It's honestly incredible. But we have a little bit of a shake, a little bit of a battle happening, or it seemed like we had a battle happening. Skip Gandy finding himself having to work his way to the outside, let the lead lap drivers make their way by. And Brett Hahn still just on the chase of Jackson Lewis, just trying to do whatever he possibly can. Let's actually take a little bit further look back to 10th place. Currently, Zach Heiser, who is in 10th place with David Payton behind him, Hayden Swank and Charles Darling, as well as Nathan Henry, I believe, all kind of in a pack here. And Zach Heiser misses the mark, takes it way wide on turns 2 and 3. He's going to find himself falling back 3 positions down to P13. Definitely going to be hurting for Zach Heiser in that number 14, as Hayden Swank and David Payton are now going to be duking it out for 10th place. Oh, man. These are another set of drivers here that I am excited to see back here. These guys have done amazing battles throughout the season of the Frito-Lay Super Late Model Series. And right now they're going to be battling it out for 10th place. Lap 79 of 125. It has been quite an interesting race. We had a rocky start, and it looks like drivers were able to whip themselves into shape and clear things up. Everything looks fantastic right now. Drivers are doing an absolutely amazing job from what I can see, and I think everyone is looking to have a fantastic final half of the race here. You can see the sun is starting to set, the lights are on, giving the track a little bit more light so the drivers can see. And honestly, it's a nice view. All of these cars out on track here currently. It's a great view of the guys in the American Sim Racing Club. Hayden Swank on the bumper of that number 38 of David Payton. Hayden, man, I really hope that Hayden is going to be another driver here who's going to kind of figure things out maybe midway through the season and just kind of lock things in and be another top contender here in the series. And David Payton, another driver who has the potential of doing that here as well. A lot of these guys, I mean, it's gonna be a great season, everyone. I'm very, very excited for this season. It's gonna be fantastic. All of these drivers have done an excellent job in the past, and they're continuing to do so now. Oh, Eric Papineau in the 43 gets a little bit of a love tap there to Jackson Lewis right as we tune in to the number 7. Just to check up with the front of the field, just to see what was going on there. Not much has changed, but you can see they've gotten just a little bit closer to one another. So now that gap has dwindled down rather significantly, as these guys are going to be setting off almost exactly identical lap times. You can see on the tower as well the distance between the deltas between first place, second, and third, and both of these guys are within a second of that 013 of Thomas Axum. And as they work their way through more lap traffic, that opportunity to just get closer and closer. And right there, right on our screen, Jackson Lewis taking advantage of that, going a little bit later into the corner, just trying to get as close as he possibly can to Thomas and accelerate out of the turn as aggressively as he can without spinning the car out. Brett Hahn doing exactly the same thing. Both of these guys just trying to chip away at that gap and close it as quickly as they possibly can. Lap 90 of 125. These laps are ticking away extremely fast, still averaging under about 19 seconds for the guys in the front of the field. Some drivers finding themselves in the low 19 second range, depending on where you look in the field. Oh, and Jackson Lewis, you can see the number 50. Who is that? Oh, no. What was that? Brian Bianchi seemingly tried to send it into, I think that was turn 2? Yeah, definitely turn 2. Not sure what was going on there. For just a second, I was looking at the comment, or looking at chat for just a moment, trying to read what was going on in chat, and I look back and Brian Bianchi absolutely sending it into turn 2, almost taking out Jackson Lewis. And Brian Bianchi is also in 15th place currently. The top driver a lead lap down. I'm not sure, if I'm not mistaken, we do not have lucky dogs in this series. I'll have to go back in the rule book and check. It's been a minute since I looked at it, but if I'm not mistaken, there is no lucky dogs for this particular season. But I will double check that in the future and make sure that I am correct on that. So right now, lap 96 of 125. Things are going to be wrapping up here rather quickly. 28 laps left to go here before we see the checkered flag come out and drivers finishing up their race here tonight. And what a race we've had here so far. It has been an up and down race, I would say almost the entire time, with drivers getting into each other, having a little bit more incidents than we probably would like to see towards the beginning of the race, but we got everything sorted out, worked out very quickly. Drivers were able to get back out and put on a nice green flag attempt here. And so far, I believe the last caution we had, if you give me a second here, I believe it was lap 29, if I'm not mistaken. 28, lap 28. So since lap 28, we have not seen another yellow flag, and everything has looked very impressive. Hayden Swank right now in the 35 is still chasing behind David Payton, trying to do what he possibly can. But if you look right behind Hayden Swank, he's got Thomas Axum right behind him, so he is in danger of being a lap down. But he's also not really in a position where he's going to be finding himself unlapping himself anytime soon, as there's only 24 laps left to go here. Things are getting a little bit spicy towards the front of the field. We have a handful of drivers all in a pack now, very, very close to one another, almost on the bumper. Jackson Lewis especially, you can see just how close that number 7 is getting to the 13. All of these guys going into these turns are getting absolutely close to each other, almost touching the bumpers of one another. Thomas taking a dive down the inside. Jackson Lewis following behind him. Nick Fleury working his way to the outside. Nope, that's not Nick Fleury. That was Hayden Swink. Excuse me. And Jackson Lewis going to be finding himself down low. Is he going to be able to make the pass? These guys make contact going out of turn 2. Oh, man, going down the back stretch, going into turn 3. Oh, Thomas is going to be on the outside of Jackson Lewis. Jackson still holding on to first place, but Thomas is going to, man, these guys are duking it out absolutely impressively. And Jackson Lewis able to get out in front. Excuse me, almost had to cough there for just a second. Oh, man, these guys are getting so close to one another, getting absolutely into one another as the caution flies. Oh, man. That battle was brewing, and you can see on your screen there too as well all of the rubber being put out on the track. In the turns, you can see it all over. And let's see if we can also have a look-see-loo at what caused this yellow flag, as we have drivers getting a little bit into one another on the front stretch. And Zach Kaiser is going to be the driver we're looking at here in the 14 machine. Taking it into turn 3, coming out of 4. Right there, same thing happened to, I believe it was David Payton we were looking at. Same spot, same exact corner, same exact spot. As soon as your tire touches that pavement, it's game over. You're gonna be sent sideways. It's very, very tricky. You have to make sure that you miss that section of pavement. So we'll take things into slow motion here. Again, Zach Kaiser in the 14. You can see even just barely, he was not even, his tires weren't even halfway over the curb mark, and that was enough to just lose all the grip on the left side of his car and then just right around. With 20 laps left to go here, folks, it's going to be a shootout to see who is going to take home the win for the opening race of the Mountain Dew Modified Tour. And I gotta say, it's, given that we only have 20 laps left to go here, a restart this late in the race, and the performance of the drivers that have been out in the front of the field this entire time, and I'm speaking of Thomas Axum and Brett Hahn and Jackson Lewis. Well, Jackson Lewis was able to join us in the front of the field here after, who was it? It was Skip Gandy, I believe, was the driver that found himself just lost a bunch of power in his car. Not sure what happened there, but he dropped down the field extremely rapidly. But anywho, the three drivers that I mentioned, all three of these guys, they've raced extremely consistent this entire time. Thomas Axum especially. Brett Hahn, you got to give credit to him, and Jackson Lewis, who came out into the front of the field, and now he's putting the pressure on Thomas. It's really anyone's race at this point between these guys. I really can't say for certain who is going to be the winner of tonight. It's up in the air for me at this point, but I'm sure after tonight it'll definitely be known who is going to be the driver to watch throughout this season. As we take things green flag once again, and Thomas Axum is going to be battling it out with Jackson Lewis on the outside. Thomas taking it down on the bottom into turn 1, coming out of turn 2, down the back stretch. Jackson Lewis out in first now, but only for a moment as we head into turns 3 and 4. Jackson Lewis and Thomas Axum almost touching one another. Brett Hahn as well getting on the bumper of that 013. Brett Hahn almost looking to see if he can take advantage of these two drivers battling it out. Currently 18 laps left to go. There's still a little bit of time left to be able to get out in first and lead this race. And if you can just be patient and stick with it, it can work in your favor. But Thomas Axum and Jackson Lewis are still battling it out side by side going through these turns. And not really a whole lot of budging between them. Jackson Lewis is able to get a little bit more speed down the straightaway, but as soon as they reach the turn, Thomas is able to get down low and just stay on the inside of that number 7 and not allow Jackson to be able to get in front of that 013. So great defense there being played out by Thomas, just trying to keep the pressure on that number 7 machine, and these guys are getting absolutely close to one another. The number 7 having a little bit of connection issues as well, blipping here just a little bit in there, but still racing, holding things out. And if you're Brett Hahn, having a driver blip in front of you is definitely a little bit of a nerve-wracking moment. You definitely don't want your car to appear in the car in front of you. That's not something you want to have. That'll ruin your race and definitely not make you a happy camper. 14 laps left to go here. And Thomas Axum still just on that inside of Jackson Lewis. And really, I'm just, at this point, I'm waiting. I'm waiting for the contact to happen. I can almost see it now. These guys are going extremely close to one another. Let's even ride on board real quickly with Brett Hahn just to see these two guys duking it out in front of him. Brett Hahn still just trying to do everything that he possibly can to possibly even take the position, first place position from these guys out here in front. But as you heard, these guys are all pushing it pedal to the metal. They're doing everything that they possibly can, and for everyone paying attention as well, you can even see on the inside of everyone's tires how hot those brakes are getting. They are glowing because of how aggressively these guys are on the brakes and how quickly you have to get on the brakes here at Martinsville. This is a very, very tight turn track, I would suppose you could say. And these cars are extremely fast. I believe they get up anywhere between, top speeds right now are about 130 mile an hour. And well, when you want to make a turn as aggressively as these guys are, you have to slow the car down very, very quickly, and that'll heat some things up and make them a little warm. You might be able to cook your breakfast on it if you chose to do so, but I would not advise that, and I don't think anyone else would advise that either. As we have 6 laps left to go here, Thomas Axum and Jackson Lewis still duking it out side by side. They have not moved. They have not moved from one another. Oh, and as I say that, Jackson Lewis gets up into the top of the wall. Oh, no. Oh, that gives Brett Hahn the opportunity to get behind the 013 of Thomas Axum. And Brett Hahn is now going to be the one chasing Thomas for first place. And, oh, no, Jackson gets sideways going into turn 3. Oh, no. Let's have a look at that real quick. This is just after He gets on the wall, and there he is, snaps. Going into turn 3, sends him sideways into a little bit of a spiral. Probably didn't slow the car down enough, or was getting a little too aggressive on the brake, locked it up just a smidgen. Oh, folks. 9 cautions here tonight, and 4 laps left to go. Definitely did not expect things to play out this way, and I definitely did not see that happening for Jackson Lewis. I really am kind of surprised that he found himself kind of in the wall on his lonesome. That really kind of shocks me here this late in the race. But then again, it also doesn't. Everyone here is probably on some extremely old tires. If they aren't, a majority of the field has not gone into pit road at all. And everyone does have a set of tires available if they chose to get them changed. But given that there's no real opportunity for green flag pit stops, it's not really, and it's not even necessary either. You don't need to, but if you wanted to, the opportunity is there. But the green flag is going to come out here once more. 4 laps left to go here, and Thomas Axum is going to be leading Brett Hahn, giving him the chase for first place. And we have another caution right as we start. Hayden Swank going to be involved in this one. Let's see what happens here on the restart. Oh, there was a little bit of a kerfluffle there for just a second. Let's keep things going. Oh, and there it goes. Ouch. Ouch, ouch, ouch. All right. 3 laps left to go here. Come on, guys. We got this. We can do this. It's been a very interesting race here. And even despite the cautions, it's still been action-packed. It's been fun to watch, fun to commentate. It's been very interesting watching these guys race these cars for the first time here, at least from my perspective. For anyone who's new to watching ASRC as well, so it's really great. I am loving the racing that we're seeing here. A lot of very close, very aggressive racing that we're seeing from these guys here as well. So I love it. Love to see it. Love this open wheel racing. One of my favorite types. Whether it's modified, karting, formula, you name it. Also got to throw an IndyCar in there. Apologies for all you IndyCar fans. We are just patiently waiting for the pace car to get ready to work its way back into pit road to finish out our race here tonight. And everyone watching here tonight, thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for joining us and watching this broadcast. It's fantastic having everyone show up to these. And it's always great to have these drivers come together and put on these races. It's always fantastic. And right as I say that, pace car makes its way into pit road. Drivers making their way out of turn 3 and 4, where we will see that green flag one more time. And Thomas Axum is going to try and get as big of a gap between himself and Brett Hahn as he possibly can. And Austin Nielsen in 3rd place, going to be taking it a little bit wide going into turn 2. Rex Hoyle on his right behind him in the 54. 3 laps left to go here. The top 3 positions are not exactly safe, as we still have Austin Nielsen, who might be, actually, well, as I say that, he starts to pull away, so Austin Nielsen might be looking to secure his 3rd place position. Thomas Axum and Brett Hahn, really, there's just not a whole lot of opportunities to make any passes. There's just not enough speed, not enough time to make it work for Brett Hahn to be able to get around Thomas Axum. But Thomas in the 13, absolutely stellar performance here tonight. As the checkered flag is waved, Thomas Axum makes his way across the checkered line with Brett Hahn in 2nd and Austin Nielsen taking it home for 3rd place for the season opener of the Mountain Dew Modified Tour, brought to you by Tagare Property Management. What a fantastic race we had here tonight, folks. I hope everyone enjoyed this race, as we are going to get ready here for some driver interviews. You can see the field. You can see our race winner doing some celebratory donuts out on the front. We are going to have our race results here in just a moment as well. All right. And up first for our driver interviews, Austin Nielsen in the number 52. He's going to be up first here tonight. Austin, sir, can you read me?
I can.
Austin, you came out here tonight for the season opener of the Mountain Dew Modified Tour. What was kind of your expectations for tonight? What were you thinking tonight was going to be like?
I honestly wasn't sure. I've never ran these cars very much. I was just coming out here to run, to be honest with you. I'm definitely more comfortable in the super late, so it's definitely interesting, low power, hard to pass, but somehow we managed.
Absolutely, yeah. And, the front of the field just seemed to have a little bit of some issues towards the end of the race as well, and I know you were kind of trailing behind the front of the field, so I think just kind of playing it safe and not really being as aggressive as probably the rest of the field was probably played in your favor. But given that you came out here and finished 3rd, what's that kind of giving you going into the rest of the season and going into next race?
Well, answering the first part of your question there, I just kind of maintained throughout that middle long run, and I was catching the 2 in front of me pretty slowly, and then we got a lucky break with that caution to come through 3rd. And then looking forward to the rest of the season, I think it's going to be very interesting. It's going to be very competitive, and it's just going to be really, really hard to pass anywhere we go, it seems like.
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely seems to be the case. From what I was watching, it seems like everyone was just kind of following in a single file groove, and almost seemed like it was just a matter of waiting for the guy in front of you to make a mistake and take advantage of that. But Austin, you did a fantastic job coming out here tonight and just holding it out, sticking out as long as you possibly could. I know we had quite a few drivers that were not able to hold out in front of the field and also find themselves behind the wall. So great job tonight, Austin, on your 3rd place finish. Now, before I let you go, is there anyone watching or at home that you'd like to give a shout out to or thank?
Well, first of all, I appreciate it, and of course, as always, I thank Tanner for putting on the league and doing such a great job at managing all this. I know it's tough, so I appreciate them and all the hard work ASRC does. I'm fairly still new to this league. I only ran about half of the season last season, so I'm still learning everybody and learning how each and everyone races. So just have a blast out here, and I think it's a great group of dudes, and it's just a great time.
Absolutely, Austin. Well, great job tonight, and I look forward to seeing you in the rest of the season here. And keep up the good work, Austin. You did a fantastic job, and hopefully I get to talk to you again next week in the booth.
I appreciate it, buddy. Thank you.
Welcome, Austin. All right, and that's Austin Nielsen out of the booth. Up next, we have Brett Hahn in the number 71 machine, taking it home for second place. Brett Hahn, can you read me, sir?
Yeah, I got you.
Brett Hahn, well, the man, the myth, the legend, Brett the Jet from the winner from our Frito-Lay Super Late Model Touring Series, coming here and finishing it out in second place. Brett, I could almost see the frustration in your eyes from the booth throughout this entire race, chasing behind that 0-13 of Thomas Axum. Brett, what are your thoughts on tonight's race?
Oh man, Mason, it was a wild one. I was on the edge of my seat all race. That middle run was such a long one. I am super worn out with everything going on, but it was awesome to see, especially Thomas and Jackson there battling side by side for like 20 laps in front of me. I'm like, all right, just got to make the right choice. And I saw Jackson make a mistake. He started pushing up, and then he hit the wall as well. And I scooted on by. I got a little bit of damage in that middle run. I hit Brian. Sorry about the contact, Brian. But, yeah, I think that hurt me just a little down the straightaways. And but, man, Thomas was on rails. I give him credit. He's a wheel man. And thought I had something there for the end, but this thing couldn't fire off too well on restarts.
Yeah, absolutely, Brett. It looked like an absolute challenge out there for every driver involved, and the 13 machine definitely seems to be the car to beat here in the series as well. Now, I got to ask you, Brett, going forward into the rest of the season, you were a very strong competitor last season, so I expect to see kind of a similar performance this year. What are you kind of expecting going into the rest of the season? Are you expecting a little bit of a challenge, or what are your thoughts on what you think for the rest of the season?
Yeah, Mason, so far we had a killer field tonight. I mean, top-notch guys, and everyone was hauling out there. So definitely makes me sweat a little bit looking at the overall championship and seeing these top-level competitors out here racing. But I love some good competition, so I'm looking forward to it. What I'm really looking forward, Mason, is the doubleheader dual feature races with some inverts and stuff, because I got pretty good at passing last year with the Supers, got a lot of practice with that. So that's where hopefully I can shine with the 71 machine and make some stuff happen when those races come around.
Absolutely. Yeah, I would definitely going to be excited to see that 71 bobbing and weaving through the field for that doubleheader as well. Now, going into next week at Stafford, what's in your head right now? Are you going to try and do your best and pull out another podium finish, or is Stafford going to be one of those tracks where you're going to struggle a little bit? What do you think is going to happen here at Stafford?
Yeah, Mason, I definitely didn't put enough practice laps in here at Martinsville. I actually was part of the Landon Castle last chance qualifier in the middle of this practice tonight at 8:30. Jumped in there, did some laps, finished P2 in my session, so I'm onto the big dance for a chance at 10 grand. But yeah, I definitely didn't have enough practice tonight. I'm definitely going to put a lot of laps in at Stafford with how stout this field is. And yeah, Mason, just like last season, trying to talk to you every race I can and hopefully squeak out a couple W's as well.
Absolutely, Brett. Well, it looks like you're already on that path, pulling out a second place finish tonight. Brett, before I let you go here and celebrate, is there anyone at home or watching that you would like to shout out or thank before you head out?
Of course, Mason. Always got a long list here. First and foremost, got to thank you and Team Goon Squad for putting on an awesome broadcast. Can't wait to rewatch that. Got to give a shout out to Broaster Chicken on the car. Of course, all the Brett the Jet fans out there. I see Justin's in the chat. My man Miller, I think, was watching at some point. Everyone else at Brett the Jet Nation. Mom, dad, brother, sister, grandma, hopefully she's watching. Another good podium for Pop-Up up there. And QuickTime Motorsports Media, can't forget about that. And then all the other admins. And, of course, got to thank all the fellow competitors. Man, this race was awesome, and I can't wait to rewatch it. I bet it was a barn burner.
Yeah, it absolutely was. I think you're definitely going to like it, Brett. It was fantastic from start to finish, even despite the incidents we had at the beginning of the race. But Brett, thank you for stopping in the booth and having a chat with me. I look forward to seeing you next week, and hopefully we'll have a similar conversation next week.
Yep, that's the plan, Mason. Everyone at home, have a good night. Same to you, Mason. Thanks again.
Thank you, Brett. All right, that was Brett Hahn, the number 71, taking home second place for tonight. And last but certainly not least, Thomas Axum, our winner for tonight. Thomas, sir, do you have a read? Hello, Thomas.
Oh, I do not hear you.
Let me know when you're ready. Oh, all right. Looks like Thomas found his way out of the booth. Let's see if he's going to make his way back. If not, we will postpone the final interview here. I believe he's making his way back. Yes. All right, let's see if we can have. All right. Thomas, can you hear me? All right. So it looks like Thomas is going to be having a little bit of technical difficulties with TeamSpeak currently. So I think we'll try and get him an interview for next week if we can possibly do so before we start the broadcast, just so we can make sure we can get a word in with him and see how his race was for tonight. Might even possibly be able to pull him in here. It does not look like that's going to be the case here, unfortunately. But before we wrap things up, and before I let everyone go here and enjoy the rest of their evening, I would like to thank and shout out American Sim Racing Club for putting on this event and having Team Goon Squad broadcast this event. I'd also like to thank Tagare Property Management for coming on and being a sponsor of this event. It's always, like I said at the beginning of the broadcast, it's always great having companies come on and support these leagues and help them pursue their future endeavors as well. And on behalf of Team Goon Squad, my name is Mason Heimbaugh, bringing you tonight's action. I hope you all enjoyed what you all have seen, and if you did, hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already so you can catch up and stay tuned on all of the action we have throughout the week here at Team Goon Squad. And I would also like to mention as well, if you enjoyed what you saw here tonight, if you would like to get in on some of the action, you can head over to AmericanSimRacingClub.com and sign up for any of their series that they have running that are active at the moment. And if you would like to support the league directly, if you would like to get a little bit of American Sim Racing Club merch or even Team Goon Squad merch, head over to TeamGoonSquad.com and take a look at our store. We have a few different items for the American Sim Racing Club, and if for every item purchased, 50% of the profit goes directly back to the league to help support the league and keep these excellent races going and put on these awesome events for everyone to watch. Again, my name is Mason, bringing you tonight's action with Team Goon Squad for the season opener of the Mountain Dew Modified Tour, sponsored by Tagare Property Management. Thank you all for tuning in tonight, and have a wonderful night.